Friends, family, fans, welcome back to episode 77 of Back Nine Bets, the Cold War. It's episode 77, friends. That's a hell of a lot of episodes we've got up to. So, last week, we'll get off to a quick little bad start here and just full disclosure. Been doing this for 2.5, 3 years. It's the first time that every bet we placed lost. Every single bet we placed last week lost. Sam Ryder made 10 birdies in the first round and then made 11 birdies in the next 3 rounds. He was beating our matchup against Nicholas Lindheim by a shot going into the 71st hole. Makes a double bogey, not just a bogey. Lost strokes on approach, off the tee, around the green, and putting all in the same hole to make a double and lose to Nicholas by 1. So that would have helped us save the day. It didn't. So he shot 1 over, made a double on the second last hole to go from winning his matchup to losing his matchup. Ryan Palmer was sitting inside the top 40 at really nice odds, 76 on round 4. Everybody just couldn't get their stuff together. Eric Cole just never seemed to get out of first gear, second gear. Emiliano Grillo missed the cut, just absolutely nuking some fantastic DFS lineups that we had with Troy Merritt in it. It was just tough selling stuff. All the good guys just didn't show up to the party for us, and some of the value plays just didn't quite work out. So that's what you get sometimes in these events. This fall swing has been like this for me. Every year, there's one of these freaking tournaments that just absolutely takes care of it. We grind away, and then there's one bad freaking tournament that comes up and just bones you. So that's the problem. That's what happens. It is what it is. Off we go. The good thing about this is it literally cannot get worse. So we're excited for this because it cannot get worse. You cannot get worse than betting your $100 for breaking 100 and losing every single dollar. So it's only going to get better. It's obviously going to get much better. I'm optimistic about it. It sucks to admit it, but such is the world. You never know. Maybe we hit every single one of our bets going out this week, and then we just take care of business. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We hit Tom Kim here last year. Boom, boom. It's been a hot minute since we've been on a run. So hopefully things take care of themselves at the Shriners Champion. Shriners Open. Shriners Children's Open. Holy cow. We've also got some fun banners and things we're going to be rolling through. We're going to change the format of the show a bit, kind of course preview. Then we're going to get into bets. Then we're going to get into the DFS guys we like. So kind of just splitting it up, because when I run down the model, I kind of lose track and I lose focus, and it's just a disaster. As always, the show is brought to you by rotoballer.com. Use code Maniac for 10% off our premium packages. Spencer and I out there crushing, Joe's out there crushing. We are trying to provide you with a product that is very affordable if you compare it to everything else out there. And we've given you pretty much everything you could wish for, from a DFS, from a betting, from a research, from a Discord perspective. That's all there for you. Use code Maniac for 10% off. Let's take a look at some key stats for this week at the Shriners. We're going to have ourselves quite a situation where off the tee, 2% less important than tour average, because distance is not nearly as essential around this venue. 4% less than tour average at this course. TPC Summerlin out in Vegas on bent grass greens. What you want to do off the tee in particular is be rather accurate. Surprise, surprise, Tom Kim won this tournament last year. So Martin Laird won this thing. So if you can find the fairways, these fairways are so fast and firm that you're going to be finding yourself cruising and rolling your ball down the fairway by hitting it. So the accurate guys are going to have exponential increases in their distance off the tee. And if you take a look below over here, the driving distance is actually 303 yards or 301 yards on average compared to the 289 on tour average. So if you just hit these fairways, which these guys do at about a 5-6%, 7 more clip, these balls are going to be rolling out just because of the nature of this golf course. So that's important. You have to be accurate. And that for that reason, we're going to include some accuracy in our model and some strokes gained off shorter golf courses. And then strokes gained approach, 2% more important than normal, which is always nice to see. Around the green, 4% considering, greening regulation rates are still pretty high. They're actually higher than tour average, but the greening around the green play is still very important. I think it's really challenging around these greens. If you don't hit them, the greens are massive. So being able to chip well, because you're going to be chipping far away. Like if you miss a green, it's not necessarily going to be a 5 to 10 yard chip. It could be a 20, 25 yard chip if you miss it in the wrong spot and have to chip all the way across the green out of these difficult, rough areas around the green, and then putting just a pretty much 1% as normal. Taking a look at some proximity numbers real quick before we dive into the model. The tour average is going to be seceded over here in the 100 to 150 range buckets, about 3% on average from those ranges, but 2/3 of the shots come from 100 to 200 yards. So that's what we're going to be focusing on mainly for our proximity buckets. As you can see, there's a lot of green in that band over there, but compared to tour average, 150 to 200 is a few percent less than normal. So, you're going to see a few more wedges at this venue than you typically see elsewhere. So that's basically what's cooking over there. Scoring average is way the hell under par. The course yardage is rather short at 7,100 or less. And then, like we said, the driving distance and accuracy are both up, which is very interesting. It's not often you see a correlation like that. Usually more distance means less accuracy, but turns out this golf course is the opposite way around. And then, as you can see, the missed fairway penalty is basically the same. Greening regulations up, and then penalty strokes roughly the same as tour average. So let's dive into the model and take a look at what we really want to talk about here today. So as you can see here, we've got the model organized by upside. We're going to hide this column here as real quick and talk about some guys we like. We're going to speak about our outrights first, and then we're going to go into our placements, and then we're going to talk about some matchups, and then we're going to talk about some DFS leans. But as we go through here, we'll kind of check off guys that we like for DFS as we go through the matchups and stuff like that too. So first up on the board, friends, family, fans, is a guy by the name of Eric Cole. 35 to 1. Eric Cole's second in the model. We were on him last week. He just showed up lethargic, lackluster, nothing really firing on all cylinders. However, last 24 rounds, he's sixth in the field. If you take a look at his safety rating, the guy makes cuts like a beast. His top 10 rates, 22% on average. So what I've done with these percentages, these are adjusted now. Just if you are a regular watcher of this show, typically these were just raw percentages. Like whatever you finished, this is what it was. Then I took strength of schedule per tournament and I adjusted positions a little bit to kind of get guys that like Tom Kim. His percentages aren't going to reflect how good he is compared to the rest of the field because he plays against Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, all those guys. So his top 20 percentage might be the same as, say, someone like let's go with Bo Hassler or Davis Thompson. Like someone like that who plays a lot of non-elevated events, weaker field events. We want to kind of prorate and adjust the percentages for these things so that it reflects what's going on. And then we take everyone's percentages in the field and adjusted that even more to kind of get a feeling for, how's everyone's percentages now that they've been adjusted compared to everyone in the field. So this is like some interesting stuff. So for Ludwig Aberg, as you can see here, his safety is 106%. It's not likely that there's not a 106% chance he makes the cut. But in this field, he makes a lot of freaking cuts, 9 out of 10 times. So just putting that out there, that's kind of how we want to roll with our new percentages here for placements. So getting back to Eric Cole, what on earth is this guy on our card for when he doesn't even have that good of approach play? I mean, accuracy off the tee, good drives gained, strokes gained off the tee in general, just ass for Eric Cole. But we got some seriously good metrics in the other departments. So, yes, we got a 106% chance Oberg makes the cut. Holy cow, we're going to go back to that. I cannot get my brain functioning to that capacity yet, but here we are. So just want to put that out there. I'm going to change one or two quick settings here, unfreeze and freeze, and then we get back to our guy, Eric Cole. So the only issue we have is off the tee. The good drives gained are going to be rather disappointing in that department, but it's okay. Everything else about his game around the green, fantastic. On approach, fantastic. Everything about his game is so solid except for off the tee, which we saw. Even though accuracy is a little bit more important, general off the tee play, not that much. And for someone that's this bad of a driver of the golf ball, he's been doing just fine. His last 24 rounds, 6th in the field total. So love that. And guess what? From 150 and in, he is the best in strokes gained out of the rough. Obviously, because he is in the rough a lot. That's kind of what you're going to get with Eric Cole. If you're in the rough, you're going to be very good out of it. And he is. So he's the best in the field out of the rough in strokes gained inside of 150 yards. So love to see that, considering we're going to see a few more of those this week. Now, I don't know if you're in the rough, if you're technically going to be 150 and in, because remember, we got these rolling out fairways. So if you're missing the fairway, you're going to be a little further back. But that's neither here nor there. What else about Eric Cole do we like? He's birdie or better rate over the last 24 rounds. He's second in the field. We need tons of birdies at this venue in order to get way the hell under par, which is exactly what we're looking for. And then you can kind of see, as he goes along, bogey avoidance has also been pretty solid lately. It has been a bit of a problem. Not so nice at 69, but in general, his baseline is 7th. So don't mind that at all. The par 5 scoring, there's only 3 of them this week, 10th in the field there. And then plays fantastic golf Thursday through Saturday, and then kind of peters off on a Sunday. 24th in the field in strokes gained on Sundays, but it is what it is. We've seen him actually kind of contend at the 40 net. He played not too bad playing, on that Sunday in contention. Usually he goes way backwards, but we like Eric Cole. He's in great form. We get a number that's 10 points more than what we got last week just by adding Tom Kim and a few other guys to the mix. I'm fine with that. I don't mind Eric Cole one little bit as a 35-1 outright card. Next up for us is going to be Adam Schenk, friends and family. And by Adam Schenk, we are talking some delightful stuff here. Old Adam, take a peek at the top 10 right here for these people. So he's the 3rd best top 10er in the field. The guy does not mess around when it comes to contending for top spot laurels. He's phenomenal when it comes to upside and kicking ass. Yes, exactly, Darbo. We're going back to Eric Cole here real quick, but similar to Montgomery last year, that's exactly it, But I think there's definitely something to be said about finding yourself in that position repeatedly. It's kind of like generating a thick skin or a bit of immunity to the lack of oxygen. You can survive on less oxygen the more you present yourself with that kind of situation. Just like the more you speak, the more your voice gets rough. So that's that. All right, back to Adam Schenk, our guy. Take a peek at this guy. Oh, yeah, Schenkopotamus, my man. Absolutely, we're in Dobbs. So, yeah, top 10 percentage is through the roof, 3rd best in the field, which is exactly what you want from a winner. He's found himself around the mix. If you took a look at my Twitter about his outright tweet, the guy's got like a bridesmaid 27 dresses meme going on there because he's top 10ing and all these spots. 30% of his 25 starts have been top 10s. And now we get into a field that's not nearly as loaded as some of the top 10s he's found himself at the Memorial, other big tournaments in the past. So let's see what he can get up to. Approach play has been bananas good, 4th in the field. Love that. Putting has been 16th in the field over the last 24 rounds too. So Adam Schenk can get it going. Also seems like we really liking guys that aren't the most accurate. So we'll see what he can get up to off the tee. The accuracy is a bit of a concern, but he does bomb it. So maybe he can get away with a bit of distance there. But when it comes to Adam Schenk, the guy's just a beast. He's pretty solid further away you get from the course, from the hole. His longer irons seem to be his best rated irons, but that's okay. He's a very good iron player in general, especially recently. He's been scintillating. So the putt is going to be what we rely on. The irons are going to be what we're relying on. And then he putts pretty nicely when it comes to bent grass greens. Inside the top 32 in both those departments. And, you can't really go wrong with that. When you take a look at his birdie or better rates, not necessarily that thrilling, but he's been playing great golf. And I think He's one of these dudes that is a guy that you almost want. If you're taking a look at someone's metrics, an average for Adam Schenk isn't necessarily going to reflect how good of a golfer he is. You almost want to take like a median or a 75th percentile because his upside is nuts. He's either boom or bust. He finishes inside the top 20, top 10, or he misses the cut. Like that's totally what his MO is. And when you see him playing on the weekend, he tends to play well. So his two best scoring averages are on the weekend. So when he's playing well, he plays well all 4 days, essentially. When he's not, he misses the cut, and so be it. So we really like Adam Schenk this week at $9,200 as well. And if you take a look at his situation here, the safety is only 63%, which is not ideal. But like we said, the top 10 rate is bananas good. So really like to see that from him. We'll hope he can get it done for us at 42-1 and going from there. Next up on the board is the Heartbreak Kid, Emiliano Grillo. Had him in Troy Merritt lineups with 1% ownership. God damn it, Emiliano. 8 lineups last week, all in single entry, 3 max, so bigger pay tags to get in. And 2, 5 or 6 lineups had Troy Merritt in at 1% with Emiliano Grillo nuking that lineup. So it's time for redemption. I really think this guy's a baller. We've just had a bit of a struggle to get back in the mix. Maybe he was a bit rusty heading into the week. We'll see what happens. But this guy also, top 10 rate, 21%. He's pretty solid there. 1 out of every 5 times, he's basically inside the top 10, which is exactly what you're looking for. 45-1 on DraftKings. Over the last 24 rounds, he's 14th in the field in strokes gained total. Pretty much gaining all those strokes with the putter, which Emiliano Grillo has typically done very well recently. And he does his thing. So we'll see what G-Man can get up to. When it comes to strokes gained from 150 to 200, he's the best in the field. There's no one better from 150 to 200 in the fairway. Like we said, his driving ability is pretty solid. He gains the 25th most strokes off the tee on shorter golf courses. He's pretty accurate in general. He's 40th out of the 128 guys in the field. That's fine. That's kind of the stuff you're going to be finding from him. He hits a lot of good shots from that same range of 150 to 200. So that's going to be his ballpark. And, hopefully the wedges can start firing up a little bit. When it comes to birdie or better rates, he typically has a better baseline than he has been doing lately, which is disappointing. And the bogey rates as well. He's been a bit off kilter. But we're getting Emiliano Grillo, a PGA Tour winner, at 45-1 in a field like this. That's delightful to me. Potentially going to bet him in round 1. 6th best round 1 scoring average when it comes to strokes gained, and then 12th in round 4. Kind of needs to figure his shit out in round 2 and round 3, if you ask me. So Grillo, round 1 showdown, round 4 showdown, absolutely smash plays there. If you want to bet him, that's probably where you want to go. But at 45-1, too good to pass up for us there, especially because he's our guy, Emiliano Grillo, doing his thing. Also, I want to mention we'll get to it here shortly, but I'm doing a parlay for 2 top 40 bets. And if that bad boy cashes, if you comment your favorite bet on the video, and if you retweet my pin tweet on my profile, which is the link to this YouTube video on Twitter or X, you are good to go, as long as you are a subscriber of Back 9 Bets on YouTube. So if that bet hits, $50 is someone's, because one lucky winner is going to get the 50, because when I do well, you do well. So I really like this top 40 parlay. We'll see what can happen with these 2 guys, and then we're going to go from there. But first, we've got to keep rolling through our outright guys. Just putting that out there. So please support, love. It's a bit of a fall season swing. We're kind of looking to get some traffic to the site as well, even during the crappy NFL big brother kicking us in the ass kind of situation. Next up on the board, friends, family, and fans, is Aaron Rai at 55-1. It's a bit of a misprice. A little bit of a misprice here, if you ask me. Especially his second last tournament he just teed it up in was at Wentworth, out there at the BMW PGA Championship on the DP World Tour in England. Finished second. His ball lipped out to get into a playoff with Ryan Fox. on the final hole. So he basically was a dick length away from being in a playoff and just missed it out. So that's ideal. Get a 55-1. If he won that tournament, potentially we're going to get a 30. So I love what Aaron Rye's situation is. Now, the top 10 rate, not necessarily that thrilling. Not good at all. But we've seen what he can get up to. And he's got, at 55-1, we just saw a second place finish over there. Vegas is basically the same as England. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. But he's got a key trait that's really, really going to help him around here. His distance isn't necessarily the greatest, as his off the tee numbers are 22nd, but his accuracy off the tee is second in this field, and good drives gained is second in this field. So he's going to be pounding fairways, pounding greens, and then we just see what happens from there. He's pretty solid when it comes to approach. He's very good out of the fairway from a strokes gained perspective, from wedge range, from the longer mid irons too. You know, he's not necessarily the best. His weakness is the further away you get, because such is life when you don't have distance. But outside, when he in the rough from 150 and out, he's third in the field. Somehow he just dials it in. So if he misses the fairway, we've seen how penal it can be if you don't hit the fairway here. He's going to be doing that a lot, but when he doesn't, it still looks good for him. The birdie or better rates are solid for a guy that's not necessarily the greatest in the world in making birdies. His strength lies in bogey avoidance, which is sixth in the field. So for every random bogey someone else is going to be making, he's not going to make up that birdie percentage right there. First round leader for Aaron Rye. I saw, who was it? Golf Gambler on Twitter said that he's going off second, which is Aaron Rye. The graphic for Aaron Rye was criminal. Should we bring it up real quick? Why the hell not? That was some badass photoshopping right there, Darbo. If you ask me, it was a baller Photoshop. Let's take a quick peek here. Look at this. Look at this thing of beauty, friends. In sync, Aaron Rye, baby, Rye. Aha. Love what we got going on here. I mean, look at this thing. If this guy doesn't win, he's dropping an album and he's going on tour. It's just going to go what it goes. So we love Aaron Rye. His game is in sync, especially for this golf course off the tee. So we'll see what he can get up to. Round one is a definite first round leader play. Absolutely going to go there. He's fifth in the field in that department. So there's a lot to like about Aaron. Putts a lot better on bent-grass greens, 27th from 5 to 15 feet in that department, compared to 112th in general. So there's a lot to like from Aaron Rye. And he's 55-1. I don't know exactly what it is right now, but we do know that's some value, friends. That is some value right there. So Aaron Rye, baby, bye. And by bye, I mean buy it, not buy goodbye. Next up on the board, we've got ourselves Mr. Sam Ryder. 75-1, Sam Ryder or Dyer. He also had a pretty sick Photoshop. Pull this bad boy up. Let's take a quick peek of for Sam Ryder. Look at this bad boy. Sam Ghost Rider, baby. Look at this son of a gun, just flaming and sculling his way through the life here. Now, his fire comes from the irons. Absolutely on fire when it comes to iron play. Second in the field over the last 24 rounds. Scintillating stuff. 10 birdies in round one of the Sanderson Farms. Shoots 5 under only in round one. Nuking our first round leaders. Only making 11 birdies in the next three rounds to finish outside the top 20. I think, and lose our matchup against Nicholas Lindheim. So he needs to get it together over the weekend. Typically, he's pretty solid all the way through the board, but I think just having such an outlier first round can really like rattle you. You know, your expectations are through the roof. We just need a normal round from him. Just 4 birdies, 5 birdies in the first round, maybe 1 bogey, whatever. No doubles, no water balls, just consistent effort and just grind up the leaderboard as the weekend goes by. We don't need this bullshit where you're going backwards after shooting 10 birdies in Thursday. 75-1, very acceptable number. Love what the Sam Ryder Ghost Rider can get up to there. Flame on, let's go. Birdies over the last 24 rounds, 11th in the field at 75-1. That's delightful. He's one of the better putters on PGA Tour. He's been struggling a little bit lately, but hey, 5 to 15 feet, typically baseline, he's fourth. We saw on Thursday, that was the reason he went so deep. The putter was cooking. So we'll see what he can get up to there. And then from 150 to 200, that's his range. And like we said, a little less than tour average, but going to see a lot of shots from that range still. So Sam Ryder is going to be in the mayor's office on those approach shots, and it's going to be delightful to see. How many shots are we going to see from him there? 33% of shots are coming from 150 to 200. So a third of the time, he's going to be one of the best iron players from this department here. Good shots and strokes gained, all beautiful stuff. And then the further out you get from 150 and out of the rough, Sam Ryder is also pretty good in that department. So absolutely love what Sam Ryder can get up to this week. We get a much more palatable number at 75 to 1, even after he declined. Just seriously, flame on, Scotty. Flame on, baby. But we're going to have to get himself some serious bounce back vibes. Kind of like Nick Taylor or Adam Hadwin. If Nick Taylor wins this freaking tournament at 90 to 1, this odds, I believe, is now down to 50 to 1. So this was a bit of a misprice. And if you take a look at what Nick Taylor gets up to, he gets up to it. From a safety perspective, he's 16th in the model because he's one of these guys that just kind of pops. He kind of lost a bit of his mojo towards the end of the season last year. The around the green play really got disgustingly bad in a way. The driver kind of lost situations there too, but we've seen what Nick Taylor can get up to. He's a good golfer. He can win tournaments at any given moment. He almost won against Scotty Scheffler at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, which is coming up here in a little bit. So he can get it done. He plays pretty solid on easy golf courses, and his strength is on approach as well. He's very, very good from 150 and in, and that's what we love to see. He's just going to be pounding greens from that range. 100 to 150 is 15th in the field, and then from 150 to 200 is in the 30s. So solid stuff, very acceptable. He's typically a much better around the green player than what we saw towards the end of the season, 21st baseline versus 54th over the last 24 rounds. So hopefully a bit of time off afforded him that magic touch back again. So the Nick Taylor that we want is going to be showing up hopefully with some sensational play. When you take a look at Nick Taylor's stats towards the back end of the model here, his putting on bent grass not necessarily as good as you want it to be compared to his general baseline. It looks like Wi-Fi is going out on me, but hey, we're going to keep powering through. I have no idea. We'll see what cooks. But Nick Taylor, when it comes to birdie or betters, baseline-wise, 7th in the field. Bogey avoidance, 35th in the field. As you can see from both of them, recent 24 rounds have got a little away from him. So hopefully a reset, a recharge, and we're back in business with Nick Taylor looking good over there. Round 1 scoring, 24th in the field. Round 2 scoring, 121st. So like he can have a few blow-up rounds. It's not ideal. I'm not entirely sure why it's that bad, but what is nice about his game is that when he makes it to the weekend, 4th and 1st in round 3 and 4 scoring is ideal. Make it to the weekend, and we are looking good. So Nick Taylor at $7,100 as well. That's a bit of a nice price in a field like this for Nick Taylor. And give it all of that and sign us up. Sign us the hell up there. Check the top 10 rate for a guy at $7,100. 17% top 10 rate. It's just delightful. Delightful stuff. And our final top outright bet is Troy Merritt. The guy's a beast. He's an absolute beast right now. We had a back and forth discussion, me and Troy on Twitter, about his problem, which is the yips. And it seems like that's no longer the issue. Old Troy has gained putting in 2 of his last 2 starts. And that is very impressive because the 7 before that, he had lost strokes putting every single time. Troy Merritt's 110 to 1. He's coming off back-to-back top 10 finishes in the fall swing. And when it takes Troy Merritt, ball striking, he's 19th in the field. And when it comes to short game, Short game, he's 19th in the field, and ball striking, he's 36th. His recent stuff is actually a bit better if you take a look at what he gets up to recently. Since the fall swings begun, Troy Merritt is looking very good. So we'll see what he can get up to. I'm not entirely sure why it shows 0% here for top 10 rate, but we know that he's finished inside the top 10. Oh, it's because they've been fall swing events, and he finished like 9th. So that's going to bump his stuff out of a top 10 placing, just because that's how it goes. Yes, first steps of getting rid of the yips is admitting you have the yips. And he does. And he said he's been working on it, changing all sorts of random things. But the biggest issue that he found was he never had it in qualifiers. He never had it in pro-ams. He never had it practicing. He never had it in money games, any of that stuff. Any sort of external pressure he put on himself wasn't going to affect how he putted until he got into a tournament. And then the putting started getting wacky on him. It seems like it's better. I saw him miss. He lost a few strokes putting on the final hole of 18th on the 72nd hole there. But again, finding himself in that position, I think the putter it was one of his biggest gainers of the week. So he was dominating on the greens last week. So at $7,000, Troy Merritt's definitely going to be back in the mix. At 110 to 1, he's definitely going to be back in the mix. So we love ourselves some Troy Merritt. Big fan of him. Big fan of his honesty on Twitter. And, we always love guys that interact with us Twitter abusers. So let's go, Troy. Go get it, baby. I mean, this guy's around the green game so freaking solid. Off the tees, accuracy 24th in the field. Everything you could wish for from this dude. From 150 to 200, he's pretty solid in that department. He's pretty solid around the greens in general. And take a look at these recent birdies or betters and bogeys. Baseline birdie or better, 76th. Recently, 28th. Bogey avoidance baseline, 98th. Bogey avoidance over the last 24 rounds, 6th in the field. And you see, when he gets into round 4, baby, put on the gas, Troy Merritt. So this is for the full season, but when he does make it to the weekend, he parties hard. So we'll see what Troy Merritt can get up to. Love his outlook for the week. And really looking forward to him doing well. He really deserves it. That is such a shitty situation to get the yips. And to overcome it would be awesome. So Troy Merritt, baby, 110 to 1. Sign us the hell up for that one. Now we get to some placement bets, because this is how we're going to roll. This is back 9 bets. This is where we go to make bets. I want to focus on the bets a little bit more. I want to provide some context, some understanding, the reasons why we're going to these bets. JT Poston, T20, plus 150 on a certain book that is bet calendar amount of days in a calendar year. Insert that, because I think last time I mentioned them, they banned me from their book. Now I'm betting through the misses. So off we go. We're back in there, and the odds are just the best at that book anyway. So we're on Eric JT Poston, plus 150. The model says we got 17 points of value in that department. Top 20 rate for the guy, 28% of the time. Top 20. Plus 150 means about 40% of the time he's going to be inside the top 20 based off those odds. We see him inside the top 20 about 28% of the time, but the model is telling us horse suits him really nicely. So we're going to place that bet at plus 150 and roll with it. As you can see, our recent form has been scintillating. Over the last 24 rounds, he's second in the field. He is the number 1 approach player in the field over the last 24 rounds. And then the short game, second best putter. So this guy is balling out, friends. JT Poston at plus 150 for a top 20 seems delightful. Accuracy off the tees, pretty middling. It's okay. None of the baseline stats are either popping either. Pretty solid the further away you get from the hole at 200 yards and out. But he putts great on bent. 7th best putter on bent grass greens, which we're going back to this week. And then you can see the birdie or better rates recently are just sizzling. We've got birdie or better rates for him. That's 4th in the field compared to 46th usually. And then the bogey avoidance is 3rd in the field versus 27th. So he's definitely found some form. If you take a look at what he gets up to, his 2 best rounds are typically Friday and Saturday. So if you are looking to potentially get in on JT Poston on an outright bet, you can wait for round 1 to finish, because he's going to be a very average round 1, apparently, according to his average. So You can pounce on him before round 2 when he's going to go off. So that's going to be a little round 2 showdown play for us for sure. Plus 150 for a top 20 for JT, the postman. First placement bet of the card. Next up, we've got Eric Cole. The reason we called this the Cold War, per Call of Duty Cold War. But Eric Cole, he's our guy. If he can't do it, no one can. Plus 170 for a top 20. You take a look at Eric Cole's top 20 rate. It is a casual 40% in this field. Second in the model. Love what we can get up to there. Eric Cole, plus 170. We've spoken about him for an outright already. The calm course history, pretty solid. You know, he likes his shorter courses, all that jazz. So Eric Cole, plus 170 is going to be a solid bet. He does it about 40% of the time, you know, on tour. And the implied odds of plus 170 means it's 37% of the time. So we're getting a very solid edge there just in general, according to his history. And then his recent form is 6th in the field and he's 2nd in the model. So those combinations, kind of like last week, we felt very good about it until all of our guys missed the bets, but we are back on track now. So hopefully Eric Cole can take care of that for us at plus 170 for a top 20 finish. Woo! Let's take a little quick sip here, friends. Alex Smalley, T20, plus 210. I had to go and look at this one because I wasn't quite sure how he goes about playing good golf, as he's only got an 8% top 10 rate, a 17% top 20 rate. Not the best stuff for someone that's had 23 starts on the PGA Tour, but his recent form is 16th in the field. Pretty solid there. And if you take a look, he's also hit or miss. When he is inside the top 20, he gets inside the top 20. And then when he's not inside the top 20, he's pretty much outside the top 40 kind of thing. So he's a solid bet in that department. And also recently, I think in his two out of his last 5 starts have been top 20s. So very nice stuff. We'll see what he can get up to. Also, delightful odds. Plus 210 for a top 20 is exactly what we sign up for. So give us some Alex Smalley. Give us some love. Let's see what he can get up to. It implies that he gets inside the top 20 at a 32% clip at plus 210. We'll see what he can get up to. You know, he's only projected at 17 after his last, you know, season, but the ball striking is just too good right now. It's just too good to pass up. 6th in the field in ball striking. And the putting, I think, for Alex Smalley on bent grass greens is actually a lot worse than I thought. So, that's not ideal, but, you know, it is what it is. As you can see, his recent birdie or better rates is 16th in the field, which is much better than the 59th baseline that we're getting. If he can avoid just disaster in round 1, Alex Smalley's looking good. So he typically plays better once he gets into the tournament. And, you know, so don't get too panicky once 20 bet gets a little out of there after round 1. Hopefully he can get off to a good start and keep the foot on the gas. Love Alex Smalley, especially on the ball striking front. We spoke about Aaron Rai. I don't know what's wrong with my Wi-Fi. What's my Wi-Fi? It's all out of whack. It keeps telling me I've got signal problems, but what can you do? Aaron Rai, top 20, plus 240. I wanted to take a look at his top 40 bets, which goes from plus 240 for a top 20. And if you want to bet him for a top 40, it gets to 115, which is a very quick drop off. And it doesn't quite justify that situation. Okay. Like, just for example, let's go to Adam Svensson over here. If you take a look at old Svenny, his top 20 rate is compared to his top 40 rate is only 43%. So the amount of times that he receives like an upside boost when he gets inside the top 40, like how many times is he top 20ing when he's inside the top 40? And it's only 43% of the time. So it wanted to suggest we bet Adam Svensson for a top 20 bet, but in this situation, half the time he's top 40ing when only 1/5 of the time he's top 20. So we kind of drop down there. I feel like that's a much better. So the same thing I kind of considered with Aaron Rai, but we're going with him for an outright bet. So why not go to him at plus 240, right? So that's where we're going for a top 20. See what he can get up to. I like his chances. I like what he's doing recently. You know, like we mentioned, he played well at Wentworth. Let's get Aaron Rai in the mix at plus 240. Speaking of Adam Svensson, let's get to his T40 bet here. So at minus 130 for Alex Adam Svensson, sorry, not Alex Small. Adam Svensson mentioned top 20 rate, 22% only. And it's mainly got to do with the fact that he's an absolute klutz over the weekend. Look at this. 20th and 12th in round 1 and round 2. Delightful strokes gain metrics there. 104th and 92nd over the weekend. So Adam Svensson, man, that's why I can't bet on a guy who plays that badly over the weekend for a top 20 bet. It just doesn't make sense. But he's going to get himself right into the top 20, top 10 before the weekend starts, and then kind of stumble his way back outside of the top 20 into the top 40, hopefully. So at minus 130, we're going to bet and see where it goes. I really like his chances for that kind of a bet. I don't like his chances to play well over the weekend, which you need in order to finish inside the top 20. So that's the reason why we're betting for top 40. I don't mind that one bit at all. Nick Taylor for a top 40 at minus 105. I really like old Big Dick Nick's chances for one of these situations. As you can see here, he's all the way down in 21st in the model, which is not ideal, but his top 40 rate is 58%. So he kind of gets it done. You know, his safety rating is pretty crap, 55%, but when he makes the cut, he's inside the top 40. So that's all we're looking for here at minus 105. I know we want to bet a little more aggressively on our guy that we have for a outright, but you know what? At minus 105, if he has a lackluster week, we can still profit off this guy, especially 58% is one of the best in the field. You know, if you kind of filter in on who's a very solid, like, check this out. He's like 7th in the field in top 40 rates. So that's delightful to see. You know, you only have to beat 39 other guys, and then we go there. So Nick Taylor is a good golfer in the top 40, especially if you look at his T20 market. Only 28% of the time is he T20ing, and 58% of the time he's T40ing. So love what we can get up to there. I kind of enjoy assessing which part of the market you want to go to on these kind of bets, because a T40 can provide you more value just based off these guys know they T20s, they're trying to get inside the top there, but sometimes they just can't do it and they just settle for a top 40. And some guys do it way more often than others. So that's the situation you guys find yourselves in, like Adam Hadwin. We're not betting him, but if you take a look at his situation here, pretty much every single time he's been inside the top 20, it's been every time he's been inside the top 40, it's been a top 20 bet that would have cashed. So that's what you kind of want to look at. Like, why would you bet Adam Hadwin for a top 40 when every time he's inside the top 40, it's basically a top 20? So you'd rather want to kind of figure out how you want to go about that and get, he's not even in the picture here, but you know what I'm getting at here. You can at least listen. So that's the situation you get there with Adam Hadwin. And then we want to talk about Troy Merritt, top 40. It's kind of a bit of a safer bet. You know, if the putter does go rogue on us, he's still striking it well enough on the ball striking front and around the greens that a top 40 bet at plus 130 is going to be delightfully appetizing to us. So we like Troy Merritt for a top 40 as well. We could have gone at a top 20 bet, but I really like him for a top 40. It's just a little safer, especially at plus money. Plus 130 for Troy Merritt. So we'll see what we can get up to. Bobo, I don't know if you like Troy Merritt Photoshop. I think that was a pretty funny one. Hopefully we can take care of business on the FanDuel book. The Trojan horse, baby. Back-to-back top 10s. The Yippee Putter has gained back-to-back. The Yippee-ki-yay Trojan horse. FanDuel Sportsbook going to take from us this week. If Troy Merritt wins this thing at 110-1, friends, we're in business. So sign us up for some Troy Merritt there for a top 40 as well. At bet 3, 6, and a 5. Okie dokie. Yeah, do you like that? You do like that. I know you do. So thanks for tuning in on that one. And then this is the bet we won in parlay, friends. A casual little Siwoo Andrew Putnam situation. I'm going to filter by color here. Get these two cats on the screen all on their own. And this is the bet that we are going to bet as a squad. If you want to ride it, we're going to ride it. Top 40 parlay for these two characters. Plus 150 is the outcome. If this bet cashes, if you retweet my pinned tweet under my under my profile on Twitter. It's the tweet that links this YouTube video. That's the one you want to retweet. If you are a subscriber, you don't have to subscribe this week, as long as you are a subscriber in general. And if you comment on the comments below, not the live chat, the comments below, what your favorite bet of the show has been, you can win $50 if this bet cashes. The reason it's going to cash is because these are the two premier top 40 makers in the field. Siwoo Kim for a top 40 is minus 200. He does it 89% of the time. 89% of the time in this field, he's slated for an 89% T40 rate. So he's incredibly good at finishing inside the top 40. He's incredibly bad at getting inside the top 20. Only one of every 3 top 40s are a top 20 for Siwoo. Putnam, 65% of the time is a T40. And we've seen Andrew Putnam. He's played well at this golf course before. He's ultra accurate off the tee, and his iron play has been sensational. So this golf course suits his game really well. The accuracy rewards him with distance. The iron play is going to be there all the time, and his short game, like we know, is pretty solid. So 24th in the field. Everything about these two guys to finish inside the top 40 together gets us to plus 150. One lucky winner can get himself 50 smacks if you do those 3 things. Retweet the tweet on pinned, be a subscriber, and comment on the video, not inside the chat. Got to be on the video after the show or whatever. I don't know how to get it there, but just do that. Top 40, parlay, Siwoo Kim, Andrew Putnam, plus 150, baby. The 2 premier top 40 makers in this field. Let's go. I mean, there's not too many more top 40 makers other than them. We've got Tom Kim, Eric Cole, JT Poston, Aberg, Obeg, and Andrew Putnam. All there sitting inside the 60% and above. So Siwoo is the number 1 top 40 maker. So love that all. It's going to be delightful. And then we've got ourselves some matchups. Aaron Rai versus JJ Spahn. Aaron Rai versus Jay. We are going to be heavily invested in Aaron Rai this week. If he has a bad week, we have a bad week. But that's okay. Such is life. We found an edge on this guy. The market seems to be disrespecting him a little bit. Let's see what happens. So we've spoken about Aaron Rai. Here he is 8th in the model. Where's JJ Spahn? All the way down in 43rd. So if we go to matchups and zoom in on him, on Bet365, you can find Aaron Rai versus JJ Spahn plus 125. The power rating we have here, it involves the power rating you see in the model, and then it takes their safety plus top 20 rate. It kicks out a bit at plus 125 for Aaron Rai against JJ. I know JJ's been playing bet better lately, but Aaron Rai at plus 125 is a delightful number. If you go and make it 100, that bet doesn't qualify to bet. So just by hanging a plus 125 on him, we're in. We're absolutely in on him, and we're going to go there. The same for Andrew Putnam versus Lucas Herbert. We got it all. Putnam has done sensational stuff at this golf course, played very, very nicely. If we take a look for Lucas, wherever his ass is, it's most likely going to be even further down the board. He's a short game savant. I should probably just pull him up. Take a quick peek at his profile and tell you guys why we're going against him. 74th out of 128 people. If you take a look at his top 20 rate, 6% of the time. If we add Andrew Putnam to the mixture, let's take a quick peek here. Andrew Putnam. Where the hell are you? Oh, boy. Excuse me while I do this real quick. Okay. Dead air is my favorite air. Nope, not Lucas. We're looking for Lucas. Holy cow. Okie dokie. Now we are back on track here. So we've got a casual situation where Andrew Putnam is 19th in our rankings versus the 76th for Lucas Herbert. When it comes to safety by making cuts, Herbert's only doing it 54% of the time, where Putnam's doing it 75% of the time. If you take a look at top 20 rates, we've got 13% for Putnam, 6% for Herbert. But then the thing is, the top 40 rate is 65% of the time for Putnam. Like we just mentioned, for the top 40 parlay, Lucas Herbert's only 19% of the time. So when he's making the cuts roughly half of the time, less than half the time he makes the cuts, he's finishing inside the top 40. Whereas Andrew Putnam is almost finishing inside the top 40 every time he makes the cut. So we really like that bet at a casual plus. It's actually minus 134 for Andrew Putnam versus Lucas Herbert. And to me, that's a really nice bet. I think going to this golf course, it suits him quite nicely. Ben Griffin versus Justin Suh is a very interesting proposal. Let's pull them up here real quick and dissect that situation. Because Ben Griffin almost won the tournament last week until he puked all down his face and didn't. But you never know if he bounces back. And the model's telling us that we should bet that based strictly off of Justin Suh's great cut-making ability. Like, his safety is also way the hell up there. I think the guy's missed like 1 or 2 cuts in his last 20 starts. So it's really, really fantastic. The history here is great for him too, but if you take a look at what Ben Griffin's been up to over the last 24 rounds, he's playing really good golf, whereas old Sir Dude hasn't really done that much. They both got pretty much similar top 40 rates. Sir gets a few more top 20s, but those were earlier in the year, so I'm not really that thrilled about this matchup, even though the model's suggesting it, we bet it. So we're not going to bet that, even though Sir's plus money. And then Aaron Rye versus Bo Hassler. Let's dive back into this situation. We're going to bet this one. And this bet is at DraftKings. So if you want to bet Aaron Rye versus Bo Hassler, take a peek why. So let's bet Aaron Rye here real quick. If I can slide this mouse down there. And then we go to Bo Hassler. You know when sometimes your mouse gets a little gooey underneath and it's like difficult to like just move it a tinge? That's what's the situation here. So Bo Hassler, what the heck is going on here? We like Aaron Rye because I think it's the price. This is a crazy, because they like really close to each other in the model, but we're getting plus 115 for Aaron Rye again. For someone that we have ranked ahead of Bo by a few spots. The safety is the same, but when you take a look at top 20 rates, what on earth is going on here? This does not make any sense to me. I don't know what's going on here, friends, but we really like this. I was looking at Bo Hassler's situation, and he's like hardly ever inside the top markers there. I mean, he's never finished inside the freaking top 10. So we still like Aaron Rye for this bet. I'm not entirely sure why the model's kicking it out because they're very close to each other. But it's plus money on Aaron Rye, and I guess I'm not even that convinced that we want to bet this bet. So if you feel like, I don't know yet. It's always embarrassing when you have to have these discoveries on air. I'm not entirely sure why, but it is what it is. It's just, I don't know. Let's not bet that. We'll see. We're not going to bet this bet. We're going to bet Aaron Rye versus JJ Spahn instead. I like that bet a lot more. And then Andrew Putnam over Lucas Herbert. We don't want to do any of this nonsense. So we'll leave that alone and kind of go from there. So that was that. I have a few DFS bets that we want to talk about here before we kind of get out of here. I was taking a peek at some recent optimal lineups, Darbo, and it looks like there was only a casual one $10,000 golfer in the last 3 years that made the optimal. I don't know exactly what the winning DFS lineup was, but when you take a quick look at Wu has played well here in a lineup construction, it's kind of that balanced build. There's been a lot of 6K guys. There was one optimal lineup that I think had 3 6K guys in it. So this tournament can produce some really crazy outcomes. So if this makes me want to not play as many single entries and 3 entry maxes, I'm going into the 150 max 50 cent guy. So we're going to be playing against several thousand other lineups, but that affords you the chance to get a few more guys like Trevor Cohn, Tano Goya, Justin Lower into your lineups. So let's talk about them and why we like them. Garrick Higo, an incredible birdie maker. I mean, if you take a look at his point scoring for $7,900, he averages 59 points per a DFS contest. And the guy's a beast. Look at his recent birdie percentages. It's 6th in the field. So if you're looking for someone that can absolutely dominate on the birdie front, Garrick Higo is your guy. He's 11th in the model for upside versus safety at 17th. So Higo at 59 points, $7,900 a pop. I love him. I love my fellow South African. He can get it rocking and rolling and see what he can get up to. I mean, look at this recent form. Last 24 rounds, he's 12th in the field in strokes gained total. We get him for $7,900 for one of the elite birdie makers in the field. So let's go there. I know the off the tee stuff can be a bit of a concern when it comes to accuracy and things like that, but he just makes birdies somehow. He's strong enough. He's got the length off the tee to kind of take care of business from the rough. Tom Hoagie at $8,700, averages 63 points, a DFS contest for you. His safety is one of the better of the guys I have out here. We don't necessarily have that many names we want to mention, kind of focusing on these core guys underneath the 9K range where I think we're going to really tune into our models here. So put these guys in our lineups and play a bit more balanced than we want to go big time on Tom Kim and Ludwig Oberg. So Tom Hoagie, also, if you take a look at what he can get up to on the birdie front, crazy stuff. 11th in the field in birdies. Baseline is 6th in the field. Love what he can get up to. Thursdays and Sundays on his jam, but sometimes he can, sometimes he can't. So if you're kind of looking to bet Tom Hoagie live, maybe after round 1 is the time to go. If you want to play him in showdown, round 2 and round 3 is where you want to be rolling Tom Hoagie out in. Kevin Yu, 7th in the model, 17th in the model, because this dude, it said we should bet him for a top 40 at plus 145, but he's only doing it about 32% of the time. So we didn't really bet that one. But we like him from a DFS perspective because why? His birdie or better rates is bananas. The last 24 rounds at 20th in the field. On the PGA Tour website, he's one of the top birdie makers from last season. I know the sample size is limited, but he makes a freaking ton of points. Like, look at this. He's 7K and 63.45 points in this field. So if you're looking for points makers, I mean, where does he grade out here? Look at this. We got Tom Kim, Justin, from a points perspective, he makes so many. He's 8th in the field in points. So Kevin Yu is an absolute must play in DFS. He's definitely a DFS fantasy guy versus a betting guy. You don't get, unless you're looking for birdies. If you can find a prop market that offers you X amount of birdies or more, Kevin Yu's probably that guy. You want to go to him if you can find some solid numbers there. So love Kevin Yu. Let's see if we can get back to the pink Zais and then go from there. Eric van Rooyen is grossly mispriced. His DFS points for the season aren't necessarily the greatest, but if you take a quick peek at his recent form, it's 21st in the field. So you absolutely love to see that from someone, and it's just all pretty solid on the ball striking front. He's the 5th best ball striker in the field. So that's good to see. On these shorter golf courses, he's 15th in strokes gained off the tee as well. So EVR, $6,800. Yeah, let's go. And old EVR, when he makes it, he makes life tough on himself early, yeah. But when it gets to round 4, EVR charges up that leaderboard, baby. Him and Garrick Higo both love themselves a Sunday round. I think that stems back all the way to the Amex, where they pretty much were both like course record breaking stuff on Sunday until EVR missed the putt, or they both kind of slowed up towards the end of the round. But I like EVR at $6,800 in a field like this. I think he provides you some serious upside, and off we go. He's at least finished inside the top 10 once, and we'll see what he can get up to. I like what he's doing lately. He's playing some solid golf. I think he played well last week. Justin Lower at $6,600 is a very risky-ish play, but also solid points for a guy that's $6,600. Absolutely can go there, but when it gets to weekend play, Justin Lower is, oh boy, it's bad. It's disgustingly bad. So $6,600, you're pretty much hoping he can just get you the weekend and then power through like he typically doesn't, and then go from there. So that's what we like from Justin Lower, but look at this bent putting. Look at this stuff. It's delightful. So he can absolutely get it roasting on these bent putting surfaces, and he makes a decent chunk of birdies too. So Justin Lower is an option we're going to be going towards there at $6,600. And then Austin Eckroat at $7,300 is also 53.68 points in DFS this season. It's a pretty solid number for someone that's $7,300. Take a look at his recent form. It's inside the top 30. His his boom or bust rate is pretty solid. So when he's inside the top 40, he's inside the top 20 for Austin Eckroat, which is very nice to see. 94% of the time, he's inside the top 20, or sorry, inside the top 40, it's the top 20. So lots of good upside there from our guy. 10% of the time, he's found himself inside the top 10, and that's nice to see. The ball striking stuff is phenomenal, but we've already discussed he's pretty bad when it comes to these bent grass greens. Or was that Alex Smalley? That was Alex Smalley. Austin Eckroat, not too bad. He's actually pretty solid on these bent grass greens. So like to see what he can get up to there. What are you doing on Thursdays and Saturdays, bro? Apparently the guy likes to play under pressure because he just cannot get going once he makes the weekend or starts a tournament. 104th and 109th in round 1 and round 3 in strokes gained average. And then 13th and 9th in round 2 and round 4. So it's almost like you don't even want to bet this. You don't even want to play this guy in week long. It's like he's an obvious showdown play for round 2 and round 4. Obvious. I mean, it's just so crazy how some of these guys are just this goofy when it comes to how they play. Doug Gim, on the other hand, this guy scores a ton of points. 58 points in DFS contests this year on average at $7,800. He's 33rd in the field in recent form. No top 10s, but he still gets it done with DFS scoring. You know, his birdie or better rates are pretty solid, avoids bogeys pretty nicely too in general. And he's just solid across the board. He plays well in all 4 rounds, which is nice to see from a week-long aspect. So we'll see what Dougie Gim can get up to, and off we go with him at 7,800 smacks. Then a few cheapies. Trevor Cohn at 49 points per a DFS slate, but he's $6,300. And between him and Tano Goya, we've got some serious cut-making guys. In a field like this, 41% cut ability is solid. Trevor Cohn is only finished out of the top 40 4% of the time, which is not ideal. It's basically once out of 17. But $6,300 affords you a ton of space elsewhere. We'll see what he can get up to. You know, he made the cut last weekend, didn't finish out of the top 40, but if with these amount of birdies going on, getting guys through to the weekend is imperative. You know, you're going to be seeing birdies over the weekend regardless. So having 6 for 6s is very essential this weekend, and Trevor Cohn can help you get there. The same as Tano Goya at $6,300. 49% of the time, he's making the cut. So sign us up for that. The guy's a beast, but as you can see for both of these guys, when they make the weekend, it's disastrous. Tano on a Saturday just doesn't know what to do. Very bad. And then, you know, Trevor Cohn also not ideal when it gets to the weekend. But they play solid golf before that, which is what you're looking for from someone that gets $6,300 price tag. CT Pan is well on these kind of shorter courses that comp out well, you know, average recent form, top 20 comp course grade, which is nice to see. What he gets up to is quite delightful over the weekend. So if CT can make it to the weekend, he tends to play much better golf compared to his average Thursday to Friday round of golf. We'll see what he can do. You know, the top 20 rates in his 10 starts is roughly a 3 out of 10 starts. He's made the top 20. And the same thing goes for his T20 top 40 situation. Every time he's inside the top 40, it's basically a top 20. So you're getting that upside from CT that you're looking for from a $7,200 golfer. And then our last dude, Peter Quest, in nine DFS starts, is 73.9 average. Like, this guy's balling out. He's a beast when it comes to birdies. We don't really have any stats for either of these two on the PGA website just yet, but the last 24 rounds of golf, Peter Quest is the 11th best birdie maker in the field. The bogey avoidance is pretty solid, but every now and then he has a very clumsy around the green situation where he just loses a ton of strokes around the green, but that's okay. You know, a big DFS scorer at $7,200. And the problem with him is his weekend shenanigans. Look at that on a round 4. It's just, Pete. And we had him for a top, I think, top 5 last week and a win, but he's playing solid and then just drifts down the leaderboard on a Sunday. So he's not a bad fade to have on a Sunday afternoon if you're looking for a matchup to bet against someone. And that's it. It was a different type of a show. If you enjoyed that format, let me know. a little bit more structured, a little bit more preparation on my part. I felt like I was just freewheeling and spinning my wheels in the other way. So this at least provides us with some structure, with some concise direction, which is good for me. You got to understand just your strengths and weaknesses as an individual and react to them and go from there. So that's what's happening. Trying to be a better producer of content for y'all so that you can have a good product to listen to on your drive or on your podcasts, wherever you listen and however you listen, whenever you listen. So thank you all for your support. Remember, go retweet that bad boy under my pinned tweet. Comment underneath the video what your favorite bet of the show was, and be a subscriber of Back 9 Bets. And if that top 40 parlay cashes $50 is one lucky subscribers, because when I do well, I want you guys to do well. So I appreciate your support for Back 9 Bets. If you want to check out all of our premium stuff over at rotoballer.com, use code Maniac, 10% off. Get yourself a week subscription or get yourself the full year. If you don't like it, we do 100% refund if you're not satisfied. We just had it with my model for the Ryder Cup. Some guy didn't know how to get his hands on the model, and we had to refund him. So we do that. We honor your bets. We honor all your jazz. So great show, my man. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you for tuning in, friends. Thanks for all the tips. Who would be your favorite first round leader? Aaron Rai. I think we mentioned it earlier. Everything about his game just tees up perfectly. He's going off in the second group of the morning, and he's the 5th best round 1 strokes gained average in the field. Take a quick peek here. Here's Aaron Rai. Where's he at? Boom. Over here in row 14, Aaron Rai, 5th best strokes gained round average. If you want to take a look at everyone, some options are Ludwig obviously plays fantastic golf in round 1. Justin Suh does great stuff. Peter Quest, Eric Cole, Aaron Rai, Emiliano Grillo. All guys you want to aim for in that department. I'm assuming Vincent Norman will have a very nice long shot number, but I think my favorite guy in round 1 is going to be Aaron Rai. I love how he suits up for this course. I love all that jazz. So hopefully that's the guy that you can roll with. Nice, fresh, early tee time on Thursday morning. So, folks, thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate you over here on Back 9 Bets, and we'll catch you guys next week for the Zozo Championship. Peace.